Welcome to whofooadventures. This is the next video in our continuing series on the Sedona Vegfest 2020.
In this video, Dr. Greger lectures on the topic of hypertension. Let's watch.
All right, let me skip on down to high blood pressure here. 78 million Americans affected. That's 1 in 3 American adults. And as we get older, our pressures get higher and higher, such that by age 60, the majority of us have high blood pressure. So wait a second. I mean, if most of us get hypertension when we get older, maybe it's less a disease and just a natural, inevitable consequence of aging. No, we've known since the 1920s that high blood pressure need not occur. Blood pressure is measured of 1,000 people living in rural Kenya. Typical Kenyan diet, something like this, lots of corn and beans and fruit and greens, vegetables. Well, our pressures go up as we age, such that by age 60, we have high blood pressure on average. Their pressures go down with age, and the lower the better. We now have evidence that even people under 120/80 may benefit from blood pressure reduction. So the ideal blood pressure, the no benefit from reducing it further blood pressure, 110/70. 110. Is it even possible to get pressure down to 110/70? It's not just possible, it's normal for those living healthy enough lives. 2 years in this rural Kenyan hospital, 1,800 patients were admitted. How many cases of high blood pressure did they find? 0. Wow. Must have had low rates of heart disease, right? No, they had no rates of heart disease. Not a single case of arteriosclerosis, our #1 killer, was found. Rural China, same thing. About 110/70 their entire life, 70-year-olds, same blood pressure, 16-year-olds. So wait a second, Asian diet, African diet, vastly different diets. What they share in common is that they're plant-based day to day, with meat only eaten on special occasions. So wait a second, why do we think it's the plant-based nature of their diet that was so protected? Because in the Western world, according to the American Heart Association, the only folks getting it down that low on average are those eating strictly plant-based diets, coming in at an average of 110/65. This is the largest study of plant-based eaters to date. There's a study of 89,000 Californians comparing non-vegetarians to so-called semi-vegetarians or flexitarians. Those that eat meat a few times a month, but not every week, compared to those who eat no meat except fish, compared to those who eat no meat at all, compared to those who eat no meat, eggs, or dairy. And this was an Adventist study. This is the Adventist 2 study. And so even the non-vegetarians actually didn't eat a lot of meat compared to the general population. They ate lots of fruits and vegetables, tended not to smoke, exercise. This is a really healthy cohort of meat eaters. But still, we see this stepwise drop in high blood pressure rates the more and more plant-based people ate. Same thing with diabetes. Same thing with obesity. So yeah, sure, you can throw the vast majority of your risk out the window by eating strictly plant-based, but it's not all or nothing. It's not black or white. Any movement we can make along this spectrum towards eating healthier can accrue significant benefit. You can show this experimentally. You take vegetarians, you give them meat, pay them enough to eat it, and their pressures go up. Or you can do it the other way. You take people who already eat meat, remove meat from their diets, and their blood pressures go down. Within 7 days, and this is after the vast majority had to stop their blood pressure medications or reduce their blood pressure medications. You had to. I mean, you can't treat the cause of abnormal pressures on multiple drugs, right? You'll drop your pressures too low, get dizzy, fall over, hurt yourself. Lower pressures on fewer drugs within 7 days. That's the power of plants. So, does the American Heart Association recommend a no-meat diet? No, they recommend this low-meat diet, so-called DASH diet. So wait a second. When this DASH diet was being created, I mean, were they just not aware of this landmark research done by Harvard's Frank Sachs? No, they were aware. The chair of the design committee that came up with the DASH diet was Frank Sachs. See, the DASH diet was created with the #1 goal of capturing the blood pressure lowering benefits of a more plant-based diet, yet contain enough animal products to make it palatable to the general population. And they didn't think the public could handle the truth. Now, you can see what they were thinking, right? Just like drugs never work unless you actually take them, diets never work at all unless you actually eat them. So like, look, we can't tell everyone to eat strictly plant-based. How many people are going to do that, right? So if we self-peddle the message, come up with some kind of compromise diet, well then on a population scale, we'll do more good. Okay. Tell that to the 1,000 American families a day that lose a loved one to high blood pressure. Maybe it's time to start telling the American public the truth, which is that in the United States of America, most deaths are preventable. Most deaths didn't need to happen. Why? Because of nutrition. According to the Global Burden of Disease Study, the largest study of disease risk factors in history, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the number one cause of death in these United States, it's our diet. Leading cause of disability in the United States, our diet. Now bumping tobacco smoking to number 2, cigarettes now only killing 500,000 Americans every year, whereas our diet kills many more. So, if most deaths are preventable related to nutrition, leading cause of death and disability in this country, well then, obviously nutrition is the number one thing taught in medical school, right? I mean, obviously it's the number one thing your doctor talks to you about at every single visit, right? How could there be this disconnect between the science and the practice of medicine?
Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe for more videos from the Sedona Vegfest 2020.